President Helly, members of the Linfield Board of Trustees, faculty, proud parents, family and friends, and above all, graduates of the Linfield class of 2017, congratulations, and thank you for the opportunity to join you as we celebrate this special day. Being asked to deliver a commencement address is an extraordinary honor and a great responsibility. It is also a humbling experience once you come to the sober realization that nobody really remembers these speeches anyway. I've always suspected that half of the audience is hungover, while the other half is wondering when we can get on with the cap toss and selfies. So, confronted with this reality, I have thought long and hard about what insights I could share with you. I have searched deep within my head and my heart to crystallize a few lessons learned in the years that have transpired since my own graduation. For those of you who are already starting to drift off, let me just get to the point, which is that the world which awaits you demands that you reinvent yourself constantly. And even though I presume the very last thing on your mind right now is to hit the books again, you must keep your hunger for learning alive as you embark on the next phase of your lives. You must be very, very curious. But let us first talk about living in an age of disruption. The first industrial revolution began in England in the late 18th century, as manual production methods evolved to mechanical methods driven by water and steam power. Virtually every aspect of daily life was impacted. The standard of living for the general population began to increase steadily, and incomes began to exhibit unprecedented growth. Yet, there was unease. The initial focus of industrialization was on textiles, and the Luddites, who were a group of English textile workers and weavers, fearing that the machines would replace their roles in the industry, took to destroying weaving machines as a form of protest. Fast forward to today, and the fourth industrial revolution is well underway. What we are witnessing is a fusion of technologies that are blurring the lines between digital, physical, and biological systems. It's one thing to appreciate how driverless vehicles and drones might render delivery drivers obsolete. It's quite another to realize that less than a year ago, Watson, which is IBM's cognitive supercomputer, had the ability to analyze 20 million cancer research papers in 10 minutes, I should add, against a patient's genetic profile and medical data, diagnose a rare form of leukemia, and recommend the appropriate treatment. Up until that point, doctors had been completely stumped. On the one hand, it is easy to see the life-transforming aspects of such advances. Driving will actually be safer when humans are no longer behind the wheel. Have a drink before you hit the road in your driverless car? No problem. And surely we are pleased to live in a world with washing machines, ATMs, and mobile phones. Yet each of these innovations unquestionably displaced thousands of workers. A recent study that analyzed employment data covering a century and a half from England and Wales revealed that in 1901, against a population in England and Wales of 32.5 million, 200,000 people were engaged in washing clothes. By 2011, the population had grown to 56 million, yet just 35,000 people worked in the sector, most in laundrettes or commercial laundries. We would see similar displacement of bank tellers as ATMs became mainstream, and with manufacturers of alarm clocks, street maps, desk calendars, cameras, photo albums, flashlights, shall I go on? As the functionality of each of these items is now embedded in these little devices we now find indispensable, called mobile phones. It is profoundly unsettling to be caught in the eye of the storm called disruption, to see the turmoil that this will cause as work, as we know it, continues to shift towards more tasks being automated. A recent study by the management consulting firm McKinsey revealed that after researching 800 jobs in the United States and studying 2,000 tasks for all occupations, current technologies could automate 45% of the activities people are paid to perform. The robots are not coming, they are here. Even jobs that may appear timeless will be transformed in the years to come. Let's take teaching as an example. What we are discovering about neuroscience is likely to impact the way we teach in the future. In nursing, technology will continue to evolve to enable reliable home diagnostics and monitoring. How about journalists? Today, artificial intelligence is already being used to automatically generate content, for example, in sports and finance. All that said, creation and destruction are twin forces. You can't have one without the other. Thus, we will continue to see new jobs emerge. Not too long ago, there were no data scientists, app developers, YouTube celebrities, mindfulness coaches, vertical farmers, social media managers, or body part makers. The pace of disruption confronting us is unprecedented, and you, the class of 2017, will face a world that frankly feels like a roller coaster on steroids. How then will you cope, develop the mental agility and emotional resilience to cope with the twists and turns that will inevitably come your way? To me, it comes down to curiosity, which is what I'd like to expand on. Back in 2005, at a commencement ceremony, perhaps similar to this, Steve Jobs related how at the age of 17, he took a calligraphy class, which at the time did not appear to have any practical application whatsoever. He simply found calligraphy beautiful and fascinating. A decade or so later, it suddenly became relevant as he embedded the aesthetic gleaned through those calligraphy classes into the Macintosh computer, and the rest is history. Most of you have not had to deal with the tyranny of computers with ugly typography, and that's a good thing. As he put it, you can't connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect them looking backward. So you have to trust that the dots will somehow connect in your future. This is what curiosity is about. Constructing a portfolio of knowledge, skills, and experiences that may or may not, on the face of it, seem coherent, relevant, or even practical, but collectively spark the sort of innovation and creativity that is only possible when worlds collide. And over time, build deep within you the ability to adapt alongside each successive gyration. In truth, I did not fully appreciate the value of a liberal arts education the day I graduated. It is only with clarity of hindsight that I'm able to share with you that my experience at Linfield provided me with a solid foundation for life. You see, the interdisciplinary curriculum at Linfield enabled me to broaden my perspective and instilled in me the importance of a holistic mindset, as well as fostered a certain ability to navigate an unknown territory by learning how to learn. It has kept me curious about lots of things, even though they may sometimes be entirely random. At Linfield, I also came to appreciate the power of diversity. Living, working, and studying with students from Nepal to South Africa, Costa Rica to Japan, Indonesia to Germany, Oregon to Hawaii. One day I was a kid from this little red dot on the map called Singapore, which, by the way, is roughly 14 miles north to south and 26 miles east to west. The next day, I was thrust into this environment that was, in the words of Alice, curacer and curacer. I found myself surrounded by this rich tapestry, knit together by the rich experiences and perspectives of individuals from around the world, many of whom I'm still in touch with today, thanks to Facebook, of course. In a world of algorithms, artificial intelligence, and augmented reality, what makes us human is our imagination and creativity, our ability to bring a holistic, multifaceted perspective to problem solving, our ability to connect the dots, to communicate, influence, and inspire. This and more is what Linfield prepares you for, and you should take comfort in that. But the journey does not and cannot end here. First, be curious about ideas, read widely, and keep learning. Listen with an open mind to perspectives that are different from your own. Take time to reflect and ask yourself tough questions. Second, be curious about the world. Challenge yourself to take the path less traveled, venture to places that challenge your worldview, seek an understanding of social, cultural, economic, and political systems that are foreign to you. We are living in a world that is more interconnected than ever before, and that will require a fundamental reconfiguration of prevailing geopolitical, economic, environmental, and social structures. Put simply, the rules that have been in place for a long time need to be rewritten for a new age. This is going to require the type of holistic rethinking that is only possible with a broad view of the world we live in together. Third, be curious about people. Connect with people that exist in a different reality from yourself. Most personal networks are highly cohesive, which means that your friends are likely to be friends with one another as well. However, research has shown that people with strongly clustered social networks tend to think and act the same. In other words, people who live at the intersection of differing social worlds are more likely to have good ideas and are probably more fun to hang out with. What does this mean for you, dear class of 2017, as you're moments away from walking across the stage, brimming with excitement at chapters that are yet to be written, while simultaneously attempting to quell that little voice inside that represents self-doubt, uncertainty, and even a little fear? Let me share with you that I, too, was confronted with these paradoxical feelings right here. The anticipation of the moment, interrupted by questions such as, will I get a job? What sort of job? What if I don't enjoy the work? And so on. So to conclude, I'd like to share 4 practical insights about the world of work that I wish I had known when I was in your shoes. Number 1, a career is a marathon, not a sprint. Careers today are 40 years in duration, edging up towards 60 years as our life expectancy increases. Pace yourself. Bear the big picture in mind and avoid making career moves that yield short-term gains at the expense of long-term benefits. For many of you, your first job out of Linfield is likely to bear very little relation to what you'll be doing 5, 10, or 20 years down the road. Think of your career as a jungle gym, not a ladder. The world will continue to evolve, and so must you. Be curious, make learning a habit, and seek opportunities to reinvent yourself. And for those of you who are tempted to keep looking for the perfect job, I hate to tell you this, but there are in reality very few perfect jobs. Besides, even if you do find it, it's probably not going to remain that long because things are moving so quickly. So rather than chasing the elusive rainbow, strive to find meaning in whatever you do and to develop mastery in it. Number 2, it's not only about what you do, but how you go about it. I have worked with and for many highly intelligent professionals who have made the mistake of believing that technical prowess, whatever the domain, is what matters most. The truth is that having the right answer is important, but rarely sufficient. The most effective individuals, irrespective of their level or role, appreciate the importance of listening, understanding, communicating, and persuading. Be curious. Put yourself in the other person's shoes and really try to understand where he or she is coming from. Number 3, cultivate resilience, also known as developing a thick skin. Life is going to throw you lots of curveballs. Some of them will be hits, but many are going to be strikes. You will get passed over for that job you really want. You will miss out on the promotion you worked out so hard for. You will get a performance review that you feel is unfair. You will work with bad bosses, and some pretty awesome ones too. I've learned the importance of getting back up quickly. Be curious. Ask yourself what you could have done differently and learn a few lessons from it and move on. Number 4, stay humble and be compassionate. Whether you call it luck, serendipity, or divine intervention, I've come to appreciate that what happens to us is often not of our control, and naturally the same holds true for others. Of course, it's a good idea to have clarity of direction, and it's important to work towards the goals we set for ourselves. The thing is, life has a strange way of not turning out the way you planned it. That is assuming you had a plan to begin with. Once it dawns on us that our ability to direct outcomes is indeed limited, it becomes much easier to have empathy for those who might not have been at the right time at the right place. And it should cause us to have the humility to recognize that whatever we achieve is never entirely of our own doing. Our parents, family, friends, professors, supervisors, and colleagues have all had a hand in it too. Which brings us back to why we're here today. Linfield class of 2017, I congratulate you and everyone who has supported you along the way on this important milestone, and I wish you a life filled with curiosity. Thank you.